Tonight I'd like to talk about liberation and self-realization. Liberation is being free from limitation and suffering. Self-realization is coming to see, to be aware of your higher self. Liberation and self-realization is enlightenment. We start off by viewing the world through thoughts and aggregates of thoughts. So Buddha said, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts, and with our thoughts, we make the world." This is how we see life, through these limited views. Seeing the world in thought is a limited view. Expanding your view to realizing your higher self, you go beyond thoughts. You go beyond the way that you think about things, and you see your higher self, a higher way, a greater view. And enlightenment is no view or all view. When you're in the view of thought, you're in the world of time. And time doesn't exist. Time is a partiality of eternity. So time is a way that we sort through a limited view of life. But in actuality, eternity is in this very moment. And in this very moment is every history and every future, every dimension, every possibility. There was once there's a story from the Upanishads. There was once an enlightened yogi who went to a king. He gave the king a gem. And he said, "Here, king, this is a boon for you because you are on the pathway to enlightenment and a just ruler." He said, "This is a magic gem. And this gem, when you look into it, will give you the answer you need." So while they're talking, the king was eating an apple. And he says, "Oh, great. Let me take the gem." And he throws the apple down. And then he looks into the gem. And then he sees in the gem a vision of something that he should do for his kingdom, a policy that he should have, where the kingdom will benefit. So over the years, with this gem, he was always looking into the gem to see what to do, and then the kingdom flourishes. Now there's that apple. So the apple, he threw it on the ground, the seeds fell into the soil, an apple tree grew. A couple birds nested in the tree, and then the birds flew into his courtroom and they stole the gem and they brought it back to their nest. Now, when he didn't have the gem anymore, the kingdom lost confidence in him and his brother kicked him out. And then he was, upset, wandering the land, came across the apple tree, sat against it. When he sat against it, he moved the branch, and the gem fell from the nest and landed in his hand. And he went, "Oh, okay. Wow." And then he said, "Now I need to look into the gem because now I need to know, how to become the king again." So he looks into the gem. And in the gem, he sees the time where he had the apple, where he threw it, where he got the gem. He sees all the policies that he made that helped the kingdom. He sees the birds that flew in and took the gem. And then he sees everything. He sees every world, every past life, every future life, everything and everyone. And in seeing this, he is liberated and self-realized. Then he goes back to the kingdom, and when he walks in, now enlightened, his brother, of course, gives him the throne. So this is the way that it is. This is the way that the universe is. Everything exists right now. We tend to view life as there's birth, maturation, decay, death. But life isn't that way. That's just the way that we put it together. Everything exists right now. We look at our lives and we say, well, first I did this. First I was here, then I did this, then I learned that, and then I got to this place. We always look at our lives that way. But in the higher truth, that all of those things exist now. It all exists now. So if you took a picture of the king eating the apple, the picture of the king getting the gem, a picture of the birds flying over to the kingdom, a picture of the king losing the gem, a picture of the king going out, getting kicked out of the kingdom. Each one of those pictures is a reality that exists right now. The thing that we do was we put it together in time, in karma, by looking at first, then we flip it over the second. We're turning the pages in our limited awareness. But in a higher awareness, there's only every particular perfection. Every single thing in its perfection exists right now. It's easy to see in meditation. So let's say you go down to the beach. You're sitting there, there's people walking around, people making noise. There's the waves, there's some dolphins, there's the wind. And you can sit there and observe all sorts of things going on. All sorts of things. But then when you sit down to stop thought, you become quiet and still and bright. And then what happens is everything goes away. There's no more separation between the waves and you. You become still, and then everything that was particular and separate comes into a beautiful unity. It's like you're a drop of water dropping into the ocean. There's no separation. It's like there's a wave in the ocean. It takes a particular form, but when it becomes still, it merges back into the ocean and was never separate. So that is you. You are one with everything. It's just that you draw into your mind of thoughts a distinction between you and everything. But in meditation, we can come to see that unity where everything that exists falls into peaceful balance and eternal oneness. And this is what we work on doing. We work on erasing the self through erasing thought, by expanding our view, by viewing life in a higher, brighter, more enlightened way. We erase the self. And when the self is gone, then there's only perfection and unity. It's as if there's a house, right? And smoke comes through the house and it gets stuck on the walls, right? And then the house it smells like, fire and smoke. But if you dismantle the house and then the smoke comes, then the smoke doesn't have anything to stick to. It goes right through. This is what we try to do, dismantling the self, erasing the self. And erasing the self is stopping thought, stopping reaction, stopping our habitual ways of looking at life, expanding our view to see more. Life is like a movie. You're watching a movie, and you're so into the movie that you forgot that you're watching the movie. You're absorbed in the movie. Self-realization is realizing the watcher. Who is the watcher? The watcher is that intelligent, luminous, ecstatic light of being. The watcher is the essential light of existence. The watcher is in unity with all of existence. So when you realize the watcher, you realize the whole. In considering liberation, in considering self-realization, in considering stopping time, consider love. In the awareness of love, there is no time. It's timeless and luminous. Love is liberation and self-realization.